dindingo mamanta wado wati woka kontano da maldira so dindingol tumo min be karandi kanjang tubabu londola hanim bi mansong tosano nyin ay kana na mumege so kana dunda kol kono mi yalan kon ka dindingol ke mako woto bage say mo sami do den wato tije feren na diamula ba wala binala luntamba wala nantanala bari coming ngalon nyamin graduation nyen diamulal bina diamula kadun dalilol ka taraje mi alon ko kam ika wala ka taraje pour kam mo sambanang ay diamu dinniwol fanananta mole jala mi alon ko wala ko ya nyabo isaje ise yakar wala so dalilo kama CV bijele ika fami CV mi alon ko ananda ka karang dinniwol isalon ko mobi ka futa kula kensenke wonyama fo yakata bake jandi bo futala wala so lamin jeydabo ala civil bijande bari meta civil jelal bari ñi ndom bukoldi pour nga ñimbe karang abo kole ala bakele bari dantam bijele mi alon ko se wol futande dinni wala isaje ise wo kala muta bake ise yaka ñummo sifal la ñum bankun kan nsa foko mbatu ngata ala karang wala fannala jandi bitala do wala nse dala karang wala fannala nga kumasi nga bi kabo 1979 kata 1981 yes so I want to read out the CV of our guest speaker Lamin Jedabo and then here it is from 1979 Lamine Jedabo attended St. Augustine Senior Secondary School after successfully passing his common entrance examination, and then he graduated with O-level and then proceeded to Gambia High School, now called Gambia Senior Secondary School, and obtained GCE level. Then from there, he went to he went to US and then pursued Bachelor's of Arts in History. History is very, very important. You have to know where you come from in order to know where you have to go. So he pursued history from 1993, and then from there he did not stop. He went to pursue in December 1995 jurisprudence. He got Doctor of Jurisprudence in USA, Tennessee, USA. Then from there, he obtained a diploma in law, Lua Carola. Ate Lua Carola Karankendeke. He obtained a diploma postgraduate in London. That one also London. After leaving US, he went to London and obtained this postgraduate diploma. From there, he went for a bar vocational course. He obtained that one also, bar vocational course. And then from there, he pursued an international law and criminal justice. So Lamin undoubtedly is highly grounded with law and laws affairs. Now, Madingol Purunga Nyimfo demanding Mbosami de Lamin lawyer Konkondingolong. Nimembo sirin te nyal fami mbo sirin tema jantending hay tebulo do loya konkondingolo mi yalon ko ayala loya ya aya mume be ke nyimbanko kam puruka mol makoy nya jibe kitiyo nsaje ko kitiyo nyim modol ka kitiyo jibe nyami bare hani ala fon nyi fara ake kitindile ala bike mutawo nyama aye dundi jahannama ake kitindile foy fangoy song wo kitiyo kono ko tonya ima keku so wodo kitiyo momo ba ke kan nye dunia jam fanang ma koy rolong nye nya fay dawoda e ka tonyero le je dula bedo mo dantande bo wakilla ka woju so ka tonyer lal ka busol le kan saje is falling ye tonyer ye muni tonye fanang ka je ko ijiso e sumia so wala mo Lamin Jedabo dokoti loya long andung ay karango ke dunia dula jamal do aya kumas kabor London ay degree jama sotoje abode je ko daga man kanya nga fe atata America ay degree jama sotoje ase sino je ay banku dingol munubi je ay wol mako bara ko mbadu ngana nan jang hani natara na mako ro abu janjana dunia karobe la bari mfana la banko wode tula ko ma fasina nan jang ay mako ro ke so ay mako ro ke fanal mina siata bake hana manke ala professional damati aya bulo dundi ku jamal to kamol mako muni alon ko mawo sembo soto nde dunnano ka o ku mu be fo jam bari mol bi jande muni alon ko wol dunta ala mako rol kono kabo dinni wala muni alon ko kata karamo to kata alfal kata mo ko ten jamal ala mako ro wo mu kulete mi alon ko manke ku nurenti nyen gambiya banko kon so mba atentulamba jayila ñaajibe ngale taro di ala wati sutundinne kono bari ala karamude dinniwol kano ako abinala la hani natarantol le talaka di ala nsafo tilin nani ñong o kola nata invitation letter di ala nata fay ko nge invite na karamode ñimmo jamamo ibika nano ateb dam mamanke mode fo ngamni invite bara dammale wakilta kananan a tarabo dula jang samaya mudaje bare hani wa wakilta kana so mbolla fla le kafuna kabulo diala ka ajia so our beautiful graduates, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the next to come to the podium is 𝐊𝐿𝐴 who will be giving us discussion related to, he will share his ideas or knowledge related to law. We know there is no society that can live without law. Law, its importance cannot be overemphasized. So he will be talking to us about law, and law affects everybody, whether you like it or not. Law affects all of us, and that is why it is absolutely important for you to pay attention and then hear from him. So, Mr. Dabo, or Dr. Dabo, please, you are welcome.
Mr. Barrow Bojang, the principal of 𝐁𝐿 Senior Secondary School, the staff of the school, and the students, as well as the smart-looking graduates, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed duly and respectfully. This institution, in its current form as 𝐁𝐿 Senior Secondary School,
hello everyone, please, can you pay attention? This is absolutely necessary for you to pay attention. You need to really go home with something. The most important aspect of this program is what is going on at the moment. So please, your attention is very, very important. Those of you who may have the award there,
this institution, in its current form as 𝐁𝐿 Senior Secondary School, may be considered youthful. Youthful in the sense that it came into existence, according to the principal, only from 2013. Yet clearly a respectable center of secondary education. It is a continuation of the precursor institution, the 𝐁𝐿 Secondary Technical School. In that respect, it is not a contentious postulation that Gambian public life will remain indebted to 𝐁𝐿 Senior Secondary School as a driver of quality academic education in the country. In the competitive global milieu we inhabit today, it is impossible to develop our country without quality education. Considering that Gunjur Senior Secondary School, as a successor institution, is at the heart of the secondary education project in the Gambia, it is doubtless a key contributor to starving the national workforce. With that basic setup, even allowing for the vagaries of life as far as differential talents, the students in the main will achieve at Gunjur Senior Secondary School and in post-secondary education pursuits generally. According to Nelson Mandela, no country can really develop unless its citizens are educated. And Gunjur Senior Secondary School is on the right trajectory in contributing its quota to that important arena. I would be honored by any invitation as a guest speaker from an educational institution. But as a citizen of this Atlantic seaboard community of Gunjur, this is special in a class of its own. Am I intimidated? Insofar as this is not a pulpit crowd. Yes, I know the audience is populated by towering achievers, and that is among the teachers as well as among the audience. Women and men of distinction in various disciplines of human endeavor, with the ability to dissect every word, every sentence, and subject it to minute analysis, should that be considered necessary. In any case, I'm a firm believer that all human beings are endowed with basic common sense and are themselves therefore equipped with the ability to distinguish sense from nonsense. Gambian public life will remain indebted to Gunjur Senior Secondary School as an important driver of quality senior secondary education. In the competitive global environment we inhabit today, it is impossible to develop our country without quality education. Considering that Gunjur Senior Secondary School is at the heart of the secondary education project in the Gambia, it will remain a key contributor to staffing the national workforce. In this institution are men and women whose parents never inhabit the inside of a classroom, but thanks to the magic of education, of the quality type in particular, their biological offspring can sit across the table and competently discuss cutting-edge issues and development concepts on the multifaceted endeavors of life with kings and queens, presidents and prime ministers, the incubators, and the purveyors of modern ideas. What I'm saying is, a lot of the people here are from parents who never went to school. But fortunately, their children are now educated, and that education will take them very far in life. They will come across all kinds of people, no matter how influential those people are, whether they are kings, whether they are queens, whether they are presidents or prime ministers. If you are educated, you can deal with those people with respect, with dignity. In the words of Nelson Mandela again, education is the great engine of personal development. It is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a farm worker can become the head of the mine, and that a child of a farm worker can become the president of a great nation like South Africa. He was talking about himself here. It is what we make out of what we have, not what we are given, that separates one person from another. Like Mr. Manjan said, the vocabulary of your principal does not know anything that says, no, this cannot be known. The question of education and its liberating benefits are discussed and recognized across centuries. In the Holy Quran, Surah 96, Al-Iqra, said, Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaqa, khalaqal insana min alaq. Iqra rabbukal akram, allazi allama bil kalam, allama al insana ma lam ya'lam. At the time when this was being said, there were no trains, there were no cars, there were no trains, there were no aeroplanes. But education, through research, can take us to the moon and back. Education can make everything possible. All you have to do is get dedicated to it. No shortcuts, follow education. Again, Nelson Mandela postulated that a good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. But when you add to that a literate tongue or pen, then you have something very special. My assignment is to discuss the role of law in the development of Gambian society. I consulted widely with a lot of people, with colleagues, with people in employment, or those attending higher education institutions across the world. Again, education, discipline, relentless pursuit of individual and collective dreams, admirable general values are the precursors of sustainable national development. It was Horace Mann, an American public educationist, who contended that education, beyond all the devices of human origin, is the great equalizer of conditions of men, the balance wheel of the social machinery. What he's saying is, if you are educated, no matter how wealthy other people are, no matter how educated they are, you can operate at their level. You can do what they can do. You can even be better than them. Again, education is something that we should value and pursue assiduously. The consensus is that education is the creator of opportunity, and there is therefore no dispute that the graduates we celebrate here today are on the right track. I urge you to aim for much higher heights, and I'm convinced you can do it. So go on, go out and achieve for a better personal and community existence. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, the opportunity to exchange ideas on the role of law in the development of Gambian society is timely. It is current and vital and aligns with the goal 16 of the Sustainable Development Goals formulated by the United Nations to guide the development of the world. Goal 16 is about promoting peaceful and inclusive societies, providing access to justice for all, and building effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. One of the significant involvements of government in public life is directing political, social, and economic development. This is perhaps one of the most natural expectations of citizens from those who preside over their lives. Among the primary functions of the state are the defense of the Constitution and the provision of justice, indispensable parameters to achieving the social goals underlying sustainable development. Law is enacted by government to enforce rules about how individuals and groups should behave to achieve economic and social policy outcomes, particularly in the criminal, civil, and regulatory areas. It leads to economic and social policy outcomes by incentivizing behavior change through coercion or sanctions, serving as a focal point for coordinating behavior and creating a culture of compliance under the general rubric of the rule of law. As a democracy, respect for human rights and the rule of law are fundamental to combating conflict, tyranny, and exploitation. A law that is just, applied to all, grounded in human rights, principles, and impartiality, or impartially administered, is an essential precondition to a peaceful society. For individuals and groups to interact safely and securely, to promote justice and equality, to save social norms and values, and support economic activity. When all people and institutions are accountable to laws consistent with human rights norms, equally enforced, independently adjudicated, and publicly promulgated, the basic ground has been established for advancing the common good. The maintenance of law and order, which epitomizes the rule of law, presupposes the absence of the rule of force, the rule of anarchy, and the rule of man. The supremacy of law in any society, particularly a society practicing constitutional democracy such as ours, is non-negotiable. The rule of law makes public institutions accountable to upholding human rights and the fair delivery of public services, and it empowers all individuals, including those who suffer entrenching justice, to claim their rights. The independence of the judiciary as a central component of the rule of law is non-negotiable. As a concept, the rule of law is one of those political and governance principles whose ostensible embrace by dictator and democrat alike makes it susceptible to perverse interpretation and the confusion naturally attendant to that abuse. Suffice to say that as the sanctity and the dignity of the human being is directly affected, the rule of law is a practical freedom and human rights concept open to objective validation, and as such, any observer is capable of deciphering the existence of the rule of law or its otherwise in any jurisdiction. Mr. Principal, distinguished members of the audience, graduates, I'm happy to state that some of the thinkers who considered the concept argue that a cardinal element of the rule of law stands for the proposition that no person should be punishable for except for a distinct breach of the law established in an ordinary manner before the ordinary courts of the land. As the doctrine is substantive in nature, the point cannot be overemphasized that the rule of law is not about promulgating process of law adhering to the formalistic niceties of bringing legislation to the statute books. On the same close reasoning, another cornerstone thesis of the concept states that no person is above the law, that every person, whatever his or her rank or condition, is subject to the ordinary law of the land and amenable to the jurisdiction of the ordinary tribunals. I contend that the assumption in the foregoing is the clear suggestion that for the rule of law to obtain in a jurisdiction, there must be separation of power in public life. Separation of power between the executive, headed by the president, the judiciary headed by the Chief Justice, and the National Assembly, the legislature headed by the Speaker and the members of the National Assembly. There is therefore linkage between law and development. John Austin defines law as a rule laid down for the guidance of an intelligent being by an intelligent being having power over him. In other words, a body of rules fixed and enforced by sovereign political authority. As for development, it is increasingly understood as a general improvement of the quality of life for people within that jurisdiction. As such, it includes the GDP growth and the effective fulfillment of human rights, including civic and political rights. The law serves many purposes in the development of our society. The four principal ones are establishing standards, maintaining order, resolving disputes, and protecting rights and freedoms. The law is a guidepost for minimally accepted behavior in society. Some activities, for instance, are crimes because society, through a law, has determined that it will not tolerate certain behavior that injures or damages persons and or their properties. For example, it is a crime to cause physical injury to another human being without justification. Doing so generally constitutes a crime of assault. But merely accumulating education is not the be-all and the end-all of human existence. So what I'm saying is that education is very important. But education by itself and alone is not everything. In Julius Caesar, Britain's preeminent contribution to the aesthetics of the English word, to the dissemination of the thought and civilization of the British Isles, spoke those of the tragic hero. But yesterday the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. Now lies he there and none so poor to do him reverence. This is a counsel and advice for people to be very careful. You can be powerful today, but tomorrow you may be nobody. The embedded message is of universal application, as enunciated not only in the Abrahamic scriptures, but in cultures across the Gambia. Death will come to every human being. And so we should be amazed that a person or people possessed of public power, either by force or the consensus of the community, can act as though they inhabit a world of their own, complete with privileges and eternal life. Why are the teachings of transcendent humanity, the teaching that everybody will die, why is it of no importance to proud and misguided people? How must one negotiate that? For the lucky, if you are lucky to be a leader, as the case may be, if you occupy a preeminent position in the governance of any community, a nation state no less, the word is legacy that offers a fighting chance of inhabiting the same abode with that of the timeless sages. Humanity is conduits of wisdom and knowledge across the ages. It means recognizing one's ultimate subjection to the same vulnerabilities as everyone else, no matter the positioning of fate and circumstance in our transcendent world. Without question, societies may be substituted for individuals in the contention of Italy's Renaissance luminary and humanist philosopher that man placed at the center of the universe had the power to degenerate into the lower forms of life, which are brutish, or to be reborn into the higher forms which are divine. So at the end of the day, whenever you make any decision in life, it should be in the national interest, not in narrow interests, along lines of tribe, along lines of religion, and things like that. When disaster comes to the Gambia, it will not come to tribes, it will not come to religions, it will come to everybody in this country. So if the country fails, it will fail for everybody. So wherever you are, and as you go through your business in life, I know this is not going to be the end for some of you. Some will go into business, some will go into higher education, but I urge you to also consider vocational education, because this country has not started its development yet. It's better to get a skill here in the Gambia, whether that is working as a masoner, as a builder, as whatever you can do to make a dignified living is better, I tell you, than to travel through the back way thinking that everything is available for you in other parts of the world. That is not the case. You can make it in the Gambia here. You can succeed in the Gambia beyond measure. And I urge you to look inward and be very careful. I will say this, the politicians are running away from it. Don't go through the back door. And if people say we don't want you in our country, then there is nothing Gambia can do about that. If we don't want people in the Gambia, we can send them outside the Gambia, away from the Gambia, back to their own communities. So if people say we don't want you in America, we don't want you in Germany, don't feel bad about it. Stay in your country, do your best, develop yourself, find skills, and before you realize it, most of you will become millionaires right here in your own country. I congratulate the teachers for producing these young, talented, smart-looking graduates, and I wish the graduates well. I wish their teachers well. I wish 𝐊𝐞𝐲 Senior Secondary School success upon success. Thank you very much.
kala préparation be bulaje kanana ka kafuna woya tandile Allah tan indi wala nyami ko te kafunyo na duwaye alma ala nyima fulani Angleterre bangokan ni sudola abudullah pleno gono kata kafuda Angleterre tumo min na bola sona jam wada abola ne bara kuma ko ni fa dai kuma ya ba dal indi gono ngadi won alni alla wuluna nenta dindi won minna wuluna ala ko diaw ka tolle ani dindi won ka to ji dindi won aya polo minna ko karamal tawda andum nen mandela namira ali alonde ay wala ko ko tata na ala ko ibe tata tarawla ko faje nen mandela ala yawon na yawon bulo no nen mandela ko bango certificate issuing kono kadum ka certificate di dinol ikanyi alkanyi mimbe di dan de anati de la dinol kara mundul ika bulo ko ta fila ko ba bidara